Hello and welcome everybody to the very first week of Play versus Rocket League here on the Saints Gaming channel. My name, as always, is Shadi Zeddy Hanna, and joined alongside me tonight, yours truly, Jackson Deprive Brown. Deprive, I am super excited to see some Rocket League action here tonight. It's been a while since I've casted Rocket League, kind of new to the scene. I heard from you earlier before the broadcast that, we're both kind of testing the waters here a little bit, but I am sure that it's going to be an absolute banger of a time. Well, how are you feeling about the match against George Mason University?
Yeah, for sure. And there's not a whole lot to go off of, Zeddy. I mean, this is the first game of the Play versus season, and we don't really know how George Mason University plays. This is their C team, however, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see how things play out. They do have two other teams that are also in the Play versus League that are, a little bit more solid, you could only assume, with them being the AB teams. So let's see if St. Clair can, maybe take advantage of that a little bit and use it in their game here. But we are underway. 25 seconds in. Not a whole lot has happened yet, but we do have a few shots on goal.
I mean, talking about the number of teams that both of the that George Mason is offering, it speaks on the one hand that maybe this team is less polished than some of the others, but on the other, the exceptional amount of Rocket League talent that this school has, and I'm sure that there's a lot of coordination between these three teams. So we're definitely going to see how that affects this team and maybe how rehearsed and well practiced they are. So far, as you mentioned, not a whole lot going on, but we are getting a couple shots on net coming down from St. Clair. There's George Mason trying to push it in. We'll get to know the players a little bit. There's GMU No You pushing up through the front line, trying to find that shot on net. Passing to I Don't Give a Bother. These names are quite comedic on the side of George Mason University. A couple of jokesters on this roster for sure.
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of really close shots just bounce off the post or just hang around near the net. Some good saves already so far. So very good defensive play from each team so far. And, also pretty good offensive play. Just need to hit the net a little bit more. And overall, I'm going to be excited to see if we do see that happen here shortly, as a minute and a half has passed throughout this game now. And there hasn't really been a whole lot of action. But this looks like it was almost a good shot there from Kamal, but was a great save there from No You to stop that from hopping in the net. And overall, I mean, they're bouncing it over a little bit, and they're doing a pretty decent job of keeping this kind of around the other team's territory and trying to put it in the net, but overall not having great success in finding the back of the net yet.
It's been really interesting watching how St. Clair is taking these approaches. Like, yeah, they're not finding any shots on goal, but also George Mason hasn't been able to clear it out of their half in nearly 2 minutes. Like, just constant pressure. And it's that pressure that's going to allow Kamal to pick up the first goal of the game, finding that tip. It's kind of like any other sport, really. You keep putting enough pressure on net, and eventually something's going to break, something's going to crack. And beautiful execution from St. Clair to keep that pressure alive for nearly 2 minutes, finding that 1-0 lead.
Exactly, I couldn't agree more, and that's a very good cushion for St. Clair to have to start things off. They've kept that pressure on the other team, so now when they have a goal, they can slow things down a little bit and play a little bit more defensively. You're not sure if they're actually going to want to do that. They want to build themselves a little bit more of a cushion, but overall, I mean, if you're St. Clair, you're pretty happy with how things are going so far and really hoping that things, keep up and keep in the light, and just like that, they do, as Endeavor will find one and extend the lead to 2-0 for St. Clair.
Awesome shot from Endeavor, right off the top of the screen there, actually bouncing straight down Kamal with a nice tip into Endeavor to clean that one up. And it's really amazing watching how creative this team gets with their offense. We talked before previously, the last time I saw this roster, they had this incredible kind of three-man weave that they were really good at executing, where every time someone would shoot, someone was right behind them to get that follow-up touch, and Endeavor and Kamal executed that perfectly. However, that is going to lead to an opening in GMU's defense here as Endeavor finds his second goal of the game on a wide open net against George Mason University.
Yeah, for sure. So that's great stuff there from St. Clair to extend it to a 3-0 lead in this one. And, you know, if you're St. Clair here, you're very happy with how things are going now. You know, you have the lead, you have the cushion. You can really slow down your gameplay now and just play defense and really just save the ball at this point in time. St. Clair with an excellent lead and a great start to this play versus league in general, right? I mean, you know, this is the very first game, so this is really going to dictate on how they do. Like, goals for and goals against will really hit the standings hard here throughout these first two games. This is a doubleheader tonight, so we're loving to see that. Garashi will find one as well. That's a 4-0 lead for St. Clair Saints. And overall, like I was saying, goals for, goals against will be a pretty big impact here as it's very early in the season, and it will impact the standings a lot.
For St. Clair, really, like getting a 4-0 lead with 2 minutes left to spare in game one of a best-of-5 set, you have to consider not just the implications it has on this game in a bubble, but also how that affects the rest of the set. Imagine starting off your series, your first game of the season, and you're getting 4-0'd on before the game, like at the halfway point. Like, that is absolutely brutal for George Mason University. St. Clair doing an incredible job just starting the season off right. They can ride this momentum on into games number 2 and 3. With that said, game number 1 still isn't wrapped up yet, although it is looking pretty rough, if we're being honest. Endeavor getting himself in deep, trying to find the shot, but there's the tip to Kamal. He's going to find the shot, but don't give a bother with the save. However, Garashi, the constant pressure, man.
That's really the three-man weave you were talking about. Look at that. Kamal, he's going to get the shot, but yes, it's going to get defended. Most of the times when you're shooting, you will get defended, right? But overall, I mean, like, great stuff with that three-man weave, like you were saying, and it just boosts right off, and they're doing an excellent job of executing that, and it's really translating into this lead right now for St. Clair as a lead now 5-0, and there's still over a minute to play, Zeddy. We could see this lead extended even more if need be. George Mason, though, looking to answer back, trying as best as they can, but they're really struggling just to get the ball out of their zone. I'm really interested to see if they can find one goal on the board here before this game is over.
Their defensive approach to the game is just so immaculate. You'll see someone going for a shot, for example, Kamal on that last play. They'll go in for a shot. The shot will go wide. You'll immediately loop back around and play full defense to catch the ball if it goes in too deep. And everybody is complementing each other's offensive just so perfectly. Garashi with a beautiful pass into Endeavor up top. Going to look for the one touch, but unfortunately the goaltending is just a little bit too strong on the side of George Mason University. That's going to shut that play down. However, with 20 seconds left on the clock, it's going to be hard for George Mason to close a 5-point lead. I don't really see a world where that happens. Unfortunately for George Mason, they're still playing defense even with 10 seconds left on the clock. And as St. Clair burns out the timer here, they're keeping up this pressure. The shots on net are relentless. And that's going to be the game in just a few seconds as that ball touches down. St. Clair with a 5-0 lead to start things off.
Yeah, and you know what? One thing I really do want to touch on there is as much of it was a 5-0 lead for St. Clair, like, they did an excellent job. Like, GMU did a great job of just playing defense in general, right? Like, they might have let 5 goals in the net, but they did a great job of at least saving a majority of those shots, right? Like, they had so many save points and so many, like, defensive points on their players just because of how much they've been doing to save the ball. So overall, we are here now in the second game of the set, and they are just jumping right into each other. This is one thing that I absolutely love about Rocket League. There's no time to miss any action, and we are jumping right into things. Endeavor with a blow-up right off the hop of things.
Double demo for Endeavor is going to lead off the round, completely killing the boost on the side of George Mason. That's going to slow them down a ton. You can already see how much that's impacted the pace of the game. Kamal going for the shot, trying to find that angle, and he's going to get the touch there and just goes wide. Garashi with the shot is going to hit the side bar there. Now, Speckled Penny coming in, looking for that offensive, but Kamal is already in position. And Endeavor with his third demo of the game, that's going to lead a wide open net as Kamal finds the first shot on net and the first goal for St. Clair.
Yeah, St. Clair is not slowing down whatsoever. You know, they're picking up right where they left off in the previous game, building themselves a nice and early lead, something they didn't really do as much in the last game. They really got a little bit warmed up first and get used to each other again as it's the first game of the day. But overall, here we go. SCC now leading 1-0 against GMU, and they are looking pretty good. Like you see, they are just throwing the aerials around, hanging this ball in their zone. Their time on attack is absolutely phenomenal. They are really doing an excellent job of, not even just putting pressure on them, but keeping this ball in the zone. Great defense overall from St. Clair. Maybe not saving goals, but saving it from crossing that half-point marker.
I just got to give a shout out to Endeavor. I keep looking at that demo feed, and his name is just up there every 2.5 seconds. That was, again, yet another double demo for Endeavor. You have to think, that was a little tricky to say, but you got to think, like, every single time he gets a demolition, how much that impacts the pace of the game, how much that disrupts George Mason's defense, and how much that pressure that provides to Garashi and Kamal to find his kills. The nice save from Speckled Penny, though, going to go over the crossbar there, keep that one out of net. However, that one coming a little too close for comfort. Endeavor getting real close to that shot on goal. So now George Mason, they've got the ball into St. Clair's end more than a couple times. It's just about finding that shot on target. And so far, they haven't been able to do that yet.
Yeah, for sure. And Endeavor, great little bounce there, and he's going to find a goal. Great assist from Kamal to set his player up. And now a 2-0 lead for SCC. We were talking about these cushions that St. Clair's building for themselves to really, help them out moving forward. They're doing an excellent job of executing that, building themselves an early lead in these games. And it really provides them a lot more comfort as the game gets closer and closer to the finishing way mark. GMU, they have a lot of work to do to really crawl back here, not in just this game alone, but it's going to be the series now, as they are trailing 2-0 and they're already down one game in the series. GMU, we are really looking for them to get a shot and a goal on net here soon.
It's just like, it's not even just about the point difference. It's just about the difference in control of the game. GMU literally has not had a real shot on net or a real goal attempt in this game at all, and hardly had any coming out of game number one. Here's Kamal again with another shot. A good save, though, from Speckled Penny. He did a great job on goaltending. But, I mean, to your comment before the game, we talked about how GMU has all these defensive points, and I'm having a hard time deciding whether that's because they're playing good defense or because St. Clair is just shooting constantly. Like, if you got that many shots, eventually you're going to start racking up those points. You can't let everything in. And it just looks like St. Clair's offense is just far too overwhelming for George Mason to even get a hold of.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that one. It's probably got to be a little bit of a variation of both. Like, yes, all these players in this lobby right now can play great defense, but like you're saying, it's just St. Clair overwhelming the other team with shots, and eventually you are going to be saving some of those shots. So good stuff there from the side of St. Clair so far. Really interested to see how things continue to play out in the last 2 minutes of this matchup. And, this score, it looks a little bit closer than it was last game. GMU, they're doing a little bit job of slowing St. Clair down and actually, preventing more shots on net, less time on attack, and they're actually getting the ball in the other team's zone a little bit more often than previously, right? And that is going to be a good shot there from the side of GMU, just will not connect on the net, and it's going to hit that post. Great save there overall. Kamal with a nice shot as well.
Now for George Mason, trying to go on the offensive here towards the mid-game. Garashi is going to push that up. The nice little tip to Kamal to get that set up. It is going to get defended, however. But the tip to Garashi as well. He's right in position for the shot. Straight on target. That's going to be 3-0 now for St. Clair. I believe that's Garashi's second goal of the game now. He is just doing absolute wonders for his team with all of these shots on target, racking up these points. I believe Garashi is new to the roster as of this season. Previously had a different player on the roster. I believe it was Fusion. We've actually a new player to the team. And you know what? I don't even have time to talk about it. Endeavor's just going to shut that player right down with another goal of his own. So really, this new roster is just doing absolute wonders for this team.
Yeah, so he was actually a substitute for 2 semesters, so he was riding a little bit behind the lines, He was doing what he needed to do as a substitute, coming in whenever need be. So good stuff there from the side of SCC to, at least be, racking some goals for Sashi. He looks like he's playing quite well, too, and he's fitting into this roster well. So overall, I'm really interested to see how things continue to play out. But I was just saying a few seconds ago how, the SCC team is really, they're putting on pressure, and they weren't, but they weren't getting as many goals as they were last time around. But now, you see here, I completely take that back, as they've already matched what they had last game, and they've really heat up near the end of this game. And it's really looking like where St. Clair does their best, is near the end of the games when they can compete. And overall, I mean, they have 45 seconds right now to just, I feel like at this point, maybe just rack up their lead even more. GMU really struggling on getting shots on net.
just feels like, and Matt, put yourself in George Mason's position right now. You've been playing defense for nearly 9.5 minutes. Like, that's not Rocket League. That's goaltending simulator, and that's really all they're really allowed to play, playing against this offense from St. Clair. It's exhausting, it's tiring, and eventually you're gonna let something slip when you lose control of the play, lose control of the momentum. And St. Clair really has not dropped the ball once, so to speak. And now going into this last 7 seconds, they're going to burn out the clock, basically seal the deal here on this game. As St. Clair just going to dump that in deep, try to get that touch to close out this game. Of course, the game does not end until the ball hits ground. GMU going to do everything they can to keep it in the air, but it's not going to be enough. Kamal just going to find a safe space to let it touch, and that's going to be the game. Game number 2 going to St. Clair, a 2-0 so far in this series.
Yeah, for sure. So overall, for St. Clair, they are in a very good position, right? You're going to have to see a GMU reverse sweep if they do want to have a shot of really coming back in this series. And that is so hard to do in Rock League, right? You can find a lucky goal here or then, and it's so hard, especially considering what GMU has been having to do lately, right? So, I mean, just a reverse sweep, I don't really see it in the books, but if GMU can pull off something phenomenal, put on a show for us and really, get a goal on the board, even then I would like to see, just a little bit more offensive play from GMU. Even if it results in them having to lack on the defense part of it a little bit, you got to change something up if you're GMU moving forward. You're not doing, you're not scoring, you're not making plays what you're doing currently. So I'd like to see something a little bit change in their strats.
At this point, really, it's just about preserving your mental. You can't mental boom after getting 5-0 twice in a row. Get yourself a goal, something you can feel a little bit good about, something that you can ride on, and really try to turn into some positive energy. Because right now, it's just apparent that there's absolutely none of that on George Mason's side right now. Going 0-2, taking over 10 goals, letting 10 goals go in less than 10 minutes of play. That is a lot to deal with. So George Mason now coming into game number 3, just get something, guys. You just got to get something in.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. At least for their mental, like you were saying, right? Like I believe, like we got word from production that most of these teams are playing double headers tonight, right? So if you're George Mason University, that's exactly a big key factor for you then, right? Like you do want to keep your mental good and you want to be able to, maybe if you don't bounce back this series, at least bounce back next series and keep yourself in the running, right? And that's going to be one of the big things for GMU moving forward if they do want to, look pretty good in this play versus league and come out pretty strong. But overall, overall, for starters, St. Clair, they're doing a great job. And, if they even just do exactly what they did these past 2 games, they're going to be 1-0 and 15-0 on goals for, goals against. And that's absolutely amazing stats overall. I cannot wait to see how the standings look going into our next game of tonight.
We go. Speaking of next game, here we start with game number 3. St. Clair already now put on the defense. You wanted to see some offense from George Mason, but now St. Clair actually on the back foot to start that off. However, it's not going to last very long. They're already able to get the ball dumped into the opposite end as Endeavor tries to set something up for Garashi. Garashi just going to dance with it in the air a little bit, get that tip off to Endeavor, and the 3-touch to Kamal just barely goes wide. Must have misangled that shot just a tad, but it looked great to see that beautiful pass to shot. I grew up playing a lot of sports, right? I grew up playing a lot of ball hockey. And my coaches would always yell at me. They're like, man, you got a one touch. Everything's got to be a one touch. And watching these Rocket League games, the way that this team, the St. Clair team, is just one touch passing everything. You give, you go. You set it up for that next player. You let them drive it home. You don't ever have to be the star of the show. And so far, the St. Clair team has demonstrated that not a single one of them has to be the star of the show. They are willing to complement each other and set each other up for some beautiful plays. As Speckled Penny there gets the huge demo onto Kamal to shut that play down.
Yeah, and one thing you will notice here now, everybody from the side of St. Clair is actually running the same vehicle. So, they're just having some fun now. St. Clair, you don't usually see that. Everyone has their preferred vehicles, right? Everyone that uses their vehicle that they want to use most. But overall, St. Clair, they're just having some fun now. And Kamal, he's going to score well doing that. So that is an early 1-0 lead for St. Clair. And we're only a minute and 19 seconds in this game. GMU, I mean, they've looked pretty decent so far. This one, they've at least got some shots on net and at least got it in the enemy zone. But St. Clair still able to find the back of the net first here in game 3. GMU going to have to answer back if they do want to keep themselves alive in this series.
100%. We keep saying like starting to sound like a little bit of a broken record, of course, but it's so hard to watch, man. Like this team's just getting wrecked. It's the first game of the series, and you just kind of got your head in your hands a little bit. Like, man, let's see some action. Let's see some offense. Now here from St. Clair, looking a little scary. Kamal driving that a little bit too close to home, but that's going to be Endeavor with the self-team save. Now St. Clair all kind of clumped up a little bit, looking a little disoriented compared to how they've looked all season. Usually all set rather. Usually they're keeping their positioning pretty wide open, but the missed pass from Kamal actually going to be a little scary for St. Clair. Going to have to back off and get that reset now. Girashi trying to find a shot on net with the touch to Endeavor. Not going to connect this time around, but he's looking for the pass to Girashi again. Just gets saved, goes wide a little bit. Now Speckled Penny on offense. A close shot goes right up the sidebar. That's not going to connect. That's not what you're looking for. And now St. Clair has the opportunity to turn this back around as they've got a lot of boost in the tank. 100 on Endeavor, looking to find that shot on net.
Yeah, that was a great shot there from GMU to, at least put some pressure on the Saints. If that was on target, that would have resulted in the net. St. Clair would not have been able to save that, and that would have been a goal. But Kamal, he's going to answer. He's going to find his second so far of this game. And, overall, St. Clair, they're going to build themselves a cushion. I keep saying that over and over, but once you have a cushion in the game, you start to feel a lot more confident about your play, and you just start, and what confidence really shows in games, right? You really start trying some tricky shots, and it can really result in a good goal. So I really like to see that. And Garashi almost with a nice early goal there, but GMU, the post will be stopping it for them. And now, so far, SCC, the ball is now in their zone, but they're going to do exactly what they want to do. Get it out right away. Shot on net from Garashi. Isn't able to go in. Bounce back in. Look at all the bounces. That three-man weave. It comes in, and you see it every single game. Garashi, excellent job there of putting that back in off the rebound and putting that in the back of the net. St. Clair Saints now 3-0, and they are doing really good at the very end of this game. They really seem as if they heat up near the end of these games.
That was a beautiful play from both Endeavor and Garashi to set that up, the two-man play there. And yeah, that last 2 minutes seems to be where St. Clair really starts to shine. They were looking a little rough at the beginning of this game, to be honest. They might be getting worn out themselves. They've played these games, these best of fives, it's a lot of game to play. And even though it doesn't feel like much, the games are super high impact. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys in chat have actually tried playing Rocket League yourselves. It is stressful as hell. And these guys are doing an incredible job keeping their composure this entire time. Speaking of keeping your composure and keeping your cool, George Mason University dancing with flames there as the ball barely hits the crossbar and goes down. A nice little save from No You is going to keep that play out. And now St. Clair has the ball on their end, going to try to get that dumped back and keep that pressure going. Endeavor getting up in the air and trying to play some defense, but he's completely out of boost now. That play is going to be dead. Kamal as well has expended everything. Actually going to take a demo as well from Speckled Penny. So he's off the board for a couple seconds now as St. Clair gets themselves back into position, tries to build up that boost charge. And now Kamal going in for the play is going to get shut down right away at center field.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good shot on net, but Speckled Penny isn't able to complete the play and put it in the back of the net. So overall, St. Clair going to get that back out of their zone with only 40 seconds on the clock. GMU slowly running out of time. If they do want to find a win here and at least extend this series one more game, they do need to find a goal, and they need to find it here. 30 seconds, it is still quite a bit of time, but you need to find 3 goals throughout this time. So St. Clair, as long as they continue putting on the pressure, they should be closing up this series here very shortly.
20 seconds left on the clock. You can feel the pressure rising for George Mason. They still don't even have a single goal on net. And really, at this point, that's all you can hope for. One clean shot, but Endeavor's not going to let that happen, at least not without a fight. Keeping that ball in deep. Kamal going to just dance it around. They're not even going for shots on net so much as they are just trying to keep it out of George Mason's control. As we know, as soon as that ball touches the ground, that is going to be the game. In St. Clair, 13-0 over 3 games, going to absolutely dominate George Mason University in this first set of the season.
Yeah, so overall, St. Clair doing an excellent job here at the beginning of the season, like we were saying, right? 13-0 lead, and this could result in a little bit of George Mason University's having its C team, right? We said at the beginning, it could just be they have a lot of good Rocket League talent, or they also do have, just a lot of Rocket League players there in general, and they have a lot of teams resulting in it. So overall, I mean, you can only assume that their A and B teams are a little bit stronger of teams, But you don't want to throw any shade on George Mason University for that whatsoever, because at the same time, you also have to recognize this is a C team going against an A team. There is a difference there. You've got to give George Mason some props for coming out here, trying their best, and doing whatever they can throughout this game.
We've seen this talent from the St. Clair team over the course of the year. They were an incredible team last year. They had a lot of big tournament finishes. Now this season, starting things off right, carrying that momentum forward into season number 2 now as we enter the winter 2021, getting real aggressive here to start things off in the Play versus League. And that's exactly how you want to kick off the season, right? We can talk about how for George Mason, it's a step backwards, but for St. Clair, this is like 3 steps forward, right? You're not only winning your first game, but you're winning it by a landslide. And that's got to feel real good. As you mentioned, a doubleheader tonight, carry that forward. How are you going to carry this momentum from game number 1 into game number 2? The team is going to have a little bit of a break before they get into that second match. I believe that next one doesn't start until 9:30. We will take
9:15.
9:15, thank you. We can actually take a quick look at the schedule here going up into our upcoming matches for the rest of the week. So later tonight, as we mentioned, 9:15, there will be more Rocket League action here on the Saints Gaming channel. Then on Saturday, March the 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern, some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War action in the CCL. So be sure to check that out. Then on Sunday at 5 p.m., some CSGO in the Face It League. Be sure to check that out as well if you are a Counter-Strike fan. I know, Jackson, I'm sure you'll be there.
Yes,
I'd like to be there as well. We'll see. It's a great game to cast. It's a great game to watch and a great game to play. And our team's been doing pretty decent so far this season, so come check out and support your team then. Then on Monday, 7 p.m., some more Overwatch action in the Play versus League. If you were here earlier today, it was a tough game we had. Hopefully trying to bring that back and get ourselves a good win on Monday. Going into Tuesday, some more Rocket League in the NECC at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then on Tuesday, to round it out, some more Call of Duty action in the CCL. Lots of huge games lined up on the docket for St. Clair. Let's hope that all of our teams can have just as much luck and success as our Rocket League team is having tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually am going to be on the mic for every single one of those games except for the Overwatch one. So very excited for that. Very excited to bring you guys all that content. It would not be possible without you viewers coming in here and supporting the stream. So we really appreciate that. So quick shout out as well to our sponsors. Also would not be possible without them. Thank you to the St. Clair College Alumni Association, PC Owlet, the Zekelman School of Business and Information Technology, St. Clair College, Tim Hortons, and the St. Clair SRC. Like we said, would not be possible without you guys. We appreciate all the support. And if you guys want to support St. Clair, you can get some of this nice apparel like I got on right now. We can cut to a nice little apparel ad right here. Face mask, jerseys, sweaters, jackets, whatever you may like, all through Acquire. And very high quality, very nice merchandise. So make sure you guys get some of that. Rep your favorite team, St. Clair. But if it is your favorite team, we accept all viewers here. So we'd like to thank all you guys for coming in here. We are going to cut to a little quick break before this 9:15 game. Once again, my name is Jackson Deprived Brown, joined alongside Shadi, Zeddy, Hannah. So thank you guys so much, and we will be back here shortly.